I've never had to adjust one of these down. I've never had to adjust them up. Love, care, and reason. Traits unique to humans. Unique to humans. I'm going to show you why they've been abused right now, because we're not being treated with love, care, and reason. The one thing I want, can you hear me? Yes. The one thing I want everyone to remember tonight is that our speakers, all of them, are highly motivated, highly competent, honest, accurate, and showing active democracy. This is active democracy. It's not what you get in Canberra, not what you get in Brisbane. Why does this matter? This matters because it's the solution to restoring good governance in this country. This country is going downhill quickly because the people have not been involved. You have to get off our ass and get involved. Thank you so much to the speakers. I'll get on to them in a minute. The second thing I want everyone to remember is that federal and state governments are not serving the people of Queensland and Australia. They're transferring wealth from the people, us, to other interests. They're stealing from us. I want to compliment everyone involved, the audience in particular, because without you there is no democracy. Sarah, where's Sarah? Sarah has got involved as a proud mum, protecting her children and her property. That's it. How much does it cost you since then? $1,000, Sarah. And she's never spoken in public before. Now look at her. Just amazing woman. Connie, where's Connie? A first-class scientist. Rigger, don't fire, she'll fix it. Trevor looks alternative, but he is absolutely mainstream. I've got so much respect for Trevor. He and Sarah and Connie and the others get their facts, speak up, and address the issues. And whatever they say has been well researched. Trevor has gone overseas in search of his research, and he's brought back remarkable technology to this country. Very simple. Hunter, Ben, Brett, Gary, Katarzyna from the Gold Coast, Jim, Didier's over there. Jake, where's Jake? Jake has been phenomenal in speaking up about this. Lynn, Deborah, they've all collected data, they've shown courage, and they've shown incredible value of truth. All the teamwork, the volunteers. Where's Hugh Carter? Hugh Carter up the back there. Hugh's a barrister in my office in the Senate, and he's first class. He's been to many of these forums that I haven't been able to attend, and he's educated people about the law. And Deborah and Paul, and by the way, I'm going to give Deborah's witness statement a plug. It is a first-class movie, a first-class documentary. Natalie and Zion. See the number of people coming together? Why are they coming together? Because they love humans, they care, and they have some brains, and they tell the truth. So what's at stake here is democracy and property rights. I won't go into that anymore because Natalie's done a superb job of that. But there's something else that's involved, and that's care. The people who are caring about our communities, about our environment, about our children. It's sickening what they're doing to children with this program. The people who are taking care of children. So how do people feel right now? Angry, frustrated, violated, disappointed. Yeah, it's not easy. Yes?
I'm going to just say I live in fear because despite all the efforts they've done to present my exemption, nothing's come back, and I find as a female that I get bullied a lot and they just barge straight in.
Well, it's not because you're female. Trevor's one of the biggest people in this room right now. They assaulted him. People are living in fear in Australia. And that's not acceptable. What are we needing? Pure responsibility. Accountability. And that's what this meeting's about. Transparency, honesty, truth, trust.
Change! We need change, Malcolm!
Bloody hell, we need change. We need logic. These are so easy. Your counter-revolution will go home. Consider this. There are 4 steps to biosecurity. Prevention. failed. 21 years ago, 24 years ago, failed. The next step, eradication, failed. It's gone from one nest at Brisbane Port to now Moranbah into the Murray-Darling Basin, northern New South Wales. Failed. And what do? Double down and blame people like Trevor and Sarah. Sneak around Sarah's property so that when she goes to support Trevor, they come in. Sneaky bastards. They can't do it up front. Then when prevention fails, eradication fails, they move to containment. Failed again. I've just mentioned that. They've gone from one nest to tens of thousands. Is it 80,000 Connie nests? And then we get on to mitigation, which they won't try, despite Trevor proving the methods that are available in the United States. Simple, non-toxic methods. They've also had questionable use of the police and the court system. Bailing people up, and I think it's an abuse of the police. You can ask Hugh, he'll be available for answers. Why? Because there's minimal danger from these fire ants. Minimal danger. They live with it in the States now. Look at COVID. Someone said it's exaggerated. It was well and truly exaggerated, so much so that there were lies involved. I'm not denying COVID existed, but it was never a problem. It was low to moderate severity. And when you remove the people who are vulnerable, it's low severity. We turned our country upside down. Why? To put in place controls over people and to put in place a wealth transfer for $18 billion transferred from us, the people, to big pharma. That's not the end of it. That's not the end of it. The biggest issue is the tens of thousands of homicides in this country due to the COVID shots. Tens of thousands of homicides. Make no mistake. Now, coming back to fire ants. We have been chasing this for years. I've been to presentations and forums at Boonah, Gatton, Secret, and Sanford. In Gatton, I wasn't in the Senate at the time, I think it was about 2017. They had booths, 3 booths set up at the back. This is a state government-run facility. And people came to Gatton as a community and said, we want the facts, we want to hold you accountable. And they said, no, this is not about a forum. This is about putting up 3 desks down the back. If you've got issues with each of the 3 issues, go and talk to them. And a few of us stood up and we complained, and then they said, okay, we'll turn it into a forum. They do not want to be held accountable. They're secretive and they avoid scrutiny. Why? You know why. You've seen it. It's a very serious issue. Hurting the environment, hurting people, hurting mental health, property rights, police sneaking around furtively, sneakily, doing illegal tactics. It's a governance issue, it's an economic issue, it's a social issue. This goes right across our society. It's not just a few people with a few chooks or a few calves that are being affected. Dawson Creek, up in Sanford, they're killing the environment to save you from fire ants. They're killing the environment to save you from fire ants. There are no bloody fire ants in Sanford Valley.
But they're poisoning the water.
That's right, and they're poisoning humans. What happens if you're relying on rainwater tanks? The helicopters drop it on your roof. Where does it end up? In your kids' bellies. Now in the Senate, we've held them accountable for their spending in Senate estimates, questions, letters we've written to the premiers of Queensland, speeches, rallies, inquiries. Hugh Carter, as I said, has been fabulous at going around various places when I can't make it, and even when I can make it. This is a state issue, not a federal issue, but I'm the only politician involved. Why? Because the others won't get involved. Why? Because they're terrified. Think about the conflicts of interest. There are no ants, and since then they've spent $1.3 billion, and we've expanded the zone with ants. That's a complete failure, That's why these people don't want to be held accountable. So what they've done is they've replaced love, care, and reason with control and wealth transfer. That's what they've done. This is all about wealth transfer and control. Violation of property rights. What we're seeing is the ego taking over, and the ego is always based on fear. We see money involved, we see homicides from COVID, and that's what sidelines the love, care and the reason, which are essential traits in every one of us. Do we all have issues sometimes with that? Yeah, sometimes we all bypass that, but not on the scale we're talking about here. These people in state parliament and federal parliament do not represent the people. They do not represent the people. They do not listen to you. They do not put in place what you tell them. That's what's happening. Governance has been shot in this country. Government should be about serving the people. This is a parliamentary democracy, a constitutional monarchy. It should be about serving the people. This may not surprise many of you, but I've watched almost daily in federal parliament where you think that a country is being run and policies made and legislation made using data. That is not true. They dodge the data, they avoid the data, they contradict the data, they tell lies, they make decisions, policies, legislation based upon appeasing their mates, looking after their donors, looking after interests from overseas through the United Nations and the World Economic Forum. That's what these people are doing with your country, our country, with our state. We've got the data that Trevor's compiled, Sarah's compiled, Natalie's compiled, Deborah's compiled exhaustively. Lynn has compiled exhaustively, and others in this room. They just flat ignore it. The problem is not with the people. The problem is with the governments, the people representatives who are not doing their job. Why aren't they doing their job? Because we haven't held them accountable as a population. We rock up and we vote every 3 years and that's it. This is democracy, what we're involved in today. This is real democracy. This is what has to come back in this country. As well as calling in on your MP, trying to arrange a meeting and just turn up at the office and say, I want a meeting, I want a meeting, I want a meeting. Jake has gone to Jim, what's his name?
McDonald.
Sorry?
McDonald.
McDonald, that's right. Nothing! He's one of the major representatives for the Lockyer. Is that correct, Natalie? Yep. One of the major representatives. He's not doing his job. And I can tell you 151 others in the House of Representatives in Federal Parliament and 76 others, well, 74 others in the Senate. And the public service, who don't get held accountable by the politicians. What we've got here is people like Sarah, Connie, Trevor, Jake, putting their hands in their own pockets, spending their money, fighting people, MPs who are using taxpayer money to destroy their properties. And that's what I've seen time and time again. I was a volunteer for about 9 years before I got in the Senate. And I've met thousands of people around the country who are fighting government using the taxes they pay against them. Sarah, did the ABC malign you?
Couple of times, no.
Couple of times. Who pays for the ABC? We do.
Sorry, Sarah.
So that's what I mean. Sarah is fighting the lies of an ABC propaganda campaign that the taxpayers fund. This is insane. It's insane. The insanity starts in Canberra and Brisbane. So volunteers are fighting governments that you all fund. So what do we need to do? We need everyone in this room, when they leave here, tell at least 10 people, perhaps more. Spread the word. We need to support Deborah's movie. We need to support Lynn's movie. We need to spread the word. We've got to get more people awake. Look at the marches in the street just a few weeks ago. There are only 3 politicians in the street with them. Me, Tara Whitten and Pauline Hanson. But look at the numbers that came. Tens of thousands. Or was it 400 like the ABC report? Tens of thousands. Why? Why? Because they're losing their country. They're losing their identity. That's what's at stake here. It's not just the fire eradication program. So I want to thank Natalie. She's been like a bulldog with with a policy on National Fire and Eradication Program with One Nation. She said, why can't we have a policy? And I said, because it's not a federal issue. So, you can't argue with her. Now she wants to upgrade it because she's learned more. And that's exactly what we want to do. One Nation policies are based on listening to the people. Listening to the people. So please give your feedback to Natalie and Zion, and I want to thank Zion also for being involved in developing the policy with Natalie, the revised policy. That's a draft document. Please give your feedback to Natalie and Zion. I want to tell you a story. Professor Bob Carter, who's heard of him? He died in 2016. Bob Carter, famous expert on climate. He and I were going around the country on our own paths, and occasionally we'd mix paths and we'd swap a beer or a chat together. And one day Bob said to me, we were exposing the climate fraud. One day he said to me, you know, Malcolm, this is the worst scam ever. I said, Bob, it's not even close. He said, what do you mean? I said, look at the money scam. They're printing money out of thin air. He said, yeah, you're right, it's not even close. And I said, but that's not the worst scam. He said, what's the worst scam? I said, the anti-human scam. There is messaging been going out since the Club of Rome in the 1960s that says humans are greedy, irresponsible, uncaring, and rapacious. There is nothing further from the truth than that lie. And if you look beneath every single program from the United Nations and the World Economic Forum, and a lot of it being spread by the Greens and by our own uni parties, the Liberal Labour Party, they're anti-humans. That's what's driving underneath. You have a look at it. It is evil. That's what's going on with the climate. We've got to save the planet, so they'll kill the environment to save the planet. There's nothing they have to save from apart from greedy governments. That's it. So, this is a huge opportunity, just like the other issues, COVID, climate fraud, National Fire and Eradication Program, the destruction of our energy sector, started by John Howard. He laid the foundation for it. So please, treat this as an opportunity to get our country back. Explain what you've heard today, what you've learned today, and ask for support from people, your neighbours, your workers, co-workers, your churchgoers, your fellow club members. So the one thing I want everyone to remember today is that our speakers are all highly competent. You can trust these people. I've seen them repeatedly and I've checked their data. Highly competent, and they're showing active democracy. They're standing up for you against toxic waste, toxic pollutants in our environment, and also they're standing up for you by bringing active democracy back. So I want to thank them all. Why does it matter? Because it's the solution to restoring good governance in this country. And the second thing I want everyone to remember is that federal and state governments are not serving the people of Queensland and Australia. They're transferring wealth from the people, stealing from the people. And if you look at what's going on, where is the money gone on this $1.3 billion fire and eradication program? Where has it gone? And where did it come from? It came from you, it's gone to the people feeding off it. We need to return to love, care, and reason. Thank you so much for turning up. You come and say a few words, please. And